Hi everybody, welcome back to the madness. Hope you're having a great day. Before I get into anything, Andy, thanks for subscribing. Congratulations on your new job, by the way. I just saw that, so congratulations and thank you. If you want to shout out, subscribe. Today I want to talk to you about seeing the movie Cruella. So I told you the other day that I went and saw A Quiet Place 2 and I saw Cruella afterwards. And I already talked about The Quiet Place, so check that out. Let's talk Cruella. Now, if you didn't know this about me, I'm a big Disney fan. And most of the time, I tend to be a fan of the villains instead of the heroes or the princesses or, like, true love conquering all. I'm more of a villain fan. So, just to prove my point, this is my favorite villain, Scar. It's a little obvious that I like him, so so that's something that interests me, is a villain story and a villain background story, and that's basically what this movie is. You find out a little bit more about Cruella, because she's not really a villain I was into. She's this creepy lady that wears dog's skin for clothes, so that was not something that was really attractive to me when I was younger. I haven't seen 101 Dalmatians, the animated versions or the live ones. It's been like 20 years, guys, so I didn't catch up on my Cruella ladies before watching this movie. I probably should have. But it was interesting to see, and I will be giving some spoilers away for this movie because it's kind of hard to not give spoilers. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. I'm in a parking lot and I saw movement. So this is a story about a young girl at first. It's basically from her childhood on to when she becomes Cruella. And her real name is Estella. So I'm guessing since Disney wrote this, it's canon. So now we know that Cruella's real name is Estella. And did they give us a last name? I don't think they did. An official last name. I don't know. They didn't show her birth certificate, okay? Well, they did. We didn't see it, okay? We didn't see the birth certificate. They didn't show it to us. They showed it to Cruella when she was Cruella and not Estella. Okay? Whatever. Anyway. So it shows her growing up as a child, and she always had this mean streak about her. So she was really good for her mother. Her mom was a single mom, and she was always behaving as much as she could for her mom because she loved her mom. But when she was in school, she got in trouble a lot. Like, she would get in fights with boys, she would get expelled, the whole route. So it gets to the point where they have to move to London to get away from these issues that this daughter's caused, because no other school wants to take her in. So they're moving on, and the mom tells her, she's like, you need to stop acting like your evil ego, which is what they call Cruella. So that's where the name Cruella came from. That was the name that I'm guessing her mom and Estella gave to her alter ego. So they kept saying, don't be Cruella, be Estella. And so Cruella is into fashion, and so is Estella, I guess. Okay, when I start saying Cruella, I mean Estella, Cruella, the same person now, okay? Estella's into fashion, and her mom takes her to this big, huge mansion, basically a castle, on their way to London because she needs to talk to a friend to get some help while they're moving to London because they don't have any money. And she goes to this mansion, and they're having this large party, and you quite don't understand exactly what the party's for, but you get a sense that it's like a fashion party, so like a fashion show. There's like a runway and a lot of gorgeous ball gowns and things like that. So Cruella, or Estella, does not stay in the car like she's told to, and in doing so she causes a lot of trouble and ends up that her mom dies. And I don't want to give too much spoils away for that, so. Like I said, there will be spoilers, but I'm not going to give everything away, because then why would you go see the movie? So then she's on her own. She makes it to London by herself. She's like 10. And she runs into these two boys who are also, I'm guessing, homeless. And they're thieves, pickpocketers, and they are Horace and Jasper. So that's her story about how she got in contact with Horace and Jasper, who were her sidekicks in the movies. So she grows up with them. They're actually best friends, which is something that threw me off at first, because in the Dalmatians, 101 Dalmatians movies that I've seen, she's never nice to them. She's never nice to them. She's never telling them, hey, I appreciate you, or anything like that. So it was weird to see her be nice to them. Very strange at first, because I'm like, oh, if you've known each other that long, then why do you treat them like garbage when you're in your 40s? So it was interesting to watch that relationship as they grew up, because they were growing up, and she basically, in order to survive, she became like a pickpocketer with Horace and Jasper. And so it was interesting to see them grow up together and getting along, and her being sweet and kind. And she promised her mom before, like I said, before on their way to London, that she wouldn't be Cruella. So she basically was going out of her way not to act like this evil, crazy lady that got into fights and everything. So they basically stole to live, and they had like this apartment loft. Nice loft. I don't know how they've gotten away with living in it. I'm sure rent-free for all these years, and without being caught, but they're pretty smart, I guess. That didn't need to be explained, but it was kind of a plot hole, I guess. I don't know. Because they literally were at the same building from 10 on. I don't know. So it shows her getting older, and she was born with the half white and half black hair. So she was born with Sia hair, basically. So the half black, half white. And she starts wearing a wig because she doesn't want people to make fun of her for her hair, and she thought that that was more the Cruella look, so she wanted to look more normal, and she didn't want to stand out. So I thought it was actually she dyed her hair that color, and I was thinking that it would be complicated for her to go from black and white hair to red hair, and then she's going to get a black and white natural hair back. I'm like, that's going to take forever and a lot of bleach. So it ends up she was wearing a wig, and she has the regular black and white hair, which is very convenient for later on in the movie when she becomes Cruella again. So she finally gets this dream job with the seamstress company, and they call her the, oh goodness sakes. I literally had to pause so I could think of what the name of this lady was. They call her the Baroness, and she owns this like very popular company for clothing, and I think it's called Liberty. I can't remember. Is it a real place in London? I don't know. Let me know in the comments if it is. So she gets to work there. It's her dream job, and ends up not being what she thought it would be. She's cleaning floors, and so she's basically working from the bottom up. And so finally she decides that she's going to change the way that they're doing things one night when she's drunk, and she remodels a model and changes things on the clothing that they're displaying because she thinks it's hideous. So the Baroness walks in on a surprise inspection and sees it, and so she decides that she's going to hire Estella to work with her and make designs. She starts working with the Baroness, and the Baroness actually likes her, so she gets closer and closer to her, and she finds out that this is the lady that Mom went to go see her friend to get money when they were going to London. And maybe Mom's death was not as accidental or Estella's fault like she originally thought it was. Don't want to give it all away, but you can figure it out. To me, it was kind of an obvious thing that the Baroness was involved in Cruella's or Estella's mom's death. I thought that was like a dead giveaway, because you could see them arguing and then Mom dies. So I think it's obvious to the viewer. But the other part wasn't too obvious to me, so it was a little bit of a surprise. I'm not going to give that one away. But there is another thing that she finds out eventually about the Baroness. And she finds out that the Baroness was involved in Mom's death, so what she does is she decides to become her alter ego, Cruella, on side events. So she'll go to work as Estella to help the Baroness, but then she's sabotaging her in the same time as Cruella. So like she'll go to like the Baroness's ball and she'll be dressed as Cruella is dressed, but a more modern, sexy version of Cruella. This is a Cruella that I've never seen before with the long coat and the cigarette. That's not really what she is anymore. She's kind of modern, I guess. And she's like popping up at like news presses, and she's grabbing the attention of the photographers of the newspapers and magazine people to kind of take away some of the popularity from the Baroness and grabbing attention. So that's basically how she gets her revenge she gets her revenge by taking the limelight away. And she does do some sabotaging on some of the clothes she designs. I thought that was pretty epic when she had, she designed this gorgeous dress, and she originally designed it for Cruella to wear to one of the Baroness's events to grab attention. And the Baroness found the art book and decided, okay, that's my design now. I designed it. Now you make it and make it gorgeous because that's my main outfit for the season. So she gets back with her, and I thought this was so smart. So spoiler again, she makes this dress, and it was okay. I thought it looked fine before, but then she's waiting for these shipments of beads to add onto the dress, which I thought the more she added, the uglier it got. But I'm not a fashion girl. As you can see, I'm wearing a t-shirt and leggings today. So I'm not that fashionista. So maybe I just don't know. But she made it with these beads, and it showed her like sewing all night on this outfit. And as Cruella, she's having Horace and Jasper like pretend to break into the Baroness's factory and trying to sabotage things so that they'll put all of the dresses, including the dress that she made, into this vault until their fashion show. And when it comes to time for the fashion show, they can't open the vault, so they have to bust it open. So they're running late, and then they open it, and the entire vault is filled with moths. So the beads that she put on the dress were actually cocoons for moths. And if you don't know, moths eat fabric. So that's why you have like mothballs. To keep them away from your clothes, keep you from eating the fabric. And they ate everything. I thought that was, in the fashion world, that's mean. I don't know much about fashion, like I said, but I just thought that was pretty darn smart. To get away with her. And so then like there's moths everywhere. They're just everywhere. So everyone's running outside. And in the meantime, Cruella is running her own fashion show in the street. As the photographers are leaving, running away from the malls, they're actually recording her own fashion show. So she basically stole the show away from her and was showing her fashions that she designed with the seamstress that she made friends with. And it was pretty cool. I liked the music. Some of the music was more like 90s music, so I knew the songs. And it was just really, beg my pardon, but it was badass. That's what it looked like. She kind of renewed my thoughts about Cruella, because she just brought this like badass like attitude, and her clothes were so cool. Now, if you're not into fashion, like, I'll watch like America's Next Top Model probably, but more for the drama, not the clothing. I'm not really into things like that, but it interested me. But if you're not into, I think what kept me interested was the fact that it was Cruella and her backstory. But if you're not into villains and you're not into fashion, this is not your movie. I'm pretty sure half the guys that were in that movie were bored to death. Because there was some action, there was some guns playing, there was some, like, guitar, rock music going on. But really, there was moments when it was like, that's all it is. You're watching her design a dress. And then the Baroness saying, I don't like that. Do it this way. And then she says, no, you should do it this way. And the Baroness says, fine, you're right. So I could see how some people would not like it. I did like, however, that they were kind of leading up to 101 Dalmatians, because there was Dalmatians in this movie. The Baroness owned 3 Dalmatians, and she ends up losing them because Cruella has Horace and Jasper kidnap them. And you think at part of the movie that she's skinned the dogs for her dress, because during that fashion show I told you about in the middle of the driveway, she's wearing what looks to be Dalmatian skin. And so the Baroness thinks that Cruella actually stole her dogs to kill them and wear them. And ends up she didn't. But it's just something that their coats inspired her. Now, meanwhile, all this is happening when she's being more Cruella than Estella. Her relationship with Horace and Jasper, you do watch, start going down the drain. They are helping her with all these heists and all these events, but they're not happy because she is treating them like the Cruella that we would see in 101 Dalmatians. She is getting rather mouthy. She is getting rather abusive with them. And she tries. You can see that she tries to be the person that they know, but Cruella's kind of taken over. And she's basically said, Estella's gone, Cruella's here to stay. And I liked because you actually get to see, their names are escaping me, but Pongo and Perdita's owners in 101 Dalmatians, they're in this movie. And I thought that was cool. So it's like she went to school with one of them, and the Baroness's lawyer is the husband. So she went to school with a wife, and the Baroness's ex-lawyer / I don't know what he was. He wasn't doing lawyer jobs. He worked for the Baroness. So she convinced Perdita's owner to do all of the events that the Baroness was doing, that Cruella was showing up. So she made the agreement, when you see me, you take pictures of me, you get me in your newspaper, you get money because you're covering something that is of topic now, and I get the popularity, and I get the show, you take it away from the Baroness. So they had an agreement. And the lawyer guy, he eventually does help them out at the end of the movie. So so you get to see them. They don't know each other yet in the movie, but you know who they are. At first I was like, oh, that name sounds familiar. Anita. I'm like, that name sounds familiar, but I don't know why. And then they said Roger. And I'm like, Roger, Anita. I'm like, that is the owners of 101 Dalmatians. So I was like, that's interesting that they're putting those people in there. It was kind of like the Joker, where they introduced Batman and Batman's parents. That was the kind of feeling I had. I'm like, oh, connecting things. And I like that. I like when people make productions where they acknowledge that there's something that's either happened in the past or the future. I like that. So they set up the world a little bit better. And you know where people are at that time. So at the end of the movie, you think it's over because the credits are on. You need to stay till the credits are over because there is another scene. I normally stay until the credits are over in every movie, just in case there is a possibility of seeing something different, or something that was a surprise at the end. And this one actually had it. Almost everybody in the theater, and there was like 10 of us, okay? It was a matinee, and there was like 10 of us there, and almost everybody had left, and this scene pops up, and Cruella had dropped off a puppy Dalmatian to Roger and Anita separately. They still hadn't met, they weren't seeing each other yet, but they both got their dogs. And you know, if you know 101 Dalmatians, or if you remember, they meet when they're older, and the dogs are older. So they both got their puppies, and that's who gave them their puppies, is Cruella. So I thought that was interesting, that Cruella provided them the puppies. They get together, they get married, their dogs have puppies, and then those are the puppies that she kidnaps. I thought that was pretty cool. Now, I am a little concerned, like it happened in 101 Dalmatians, the animated series was released, and it happened again when the live action for 101 Dalmatians happened, and then it happened again when 102 Dalmatians was released. everyone's going to go to the store and want to buy a Dalmatian. And Dalmatians are not the best dog breed to get if you're not prepared to have a dog, especially that kind of dog. And they do actually show like a meaner side to the Dalmatians, which I've heard is something that they can be. They can be pretty mean, and they only really want one owner, and they're not really open to like large families. So I just hope that this movie does not encourage stupidity, and everyone renting, oh my gosh, everyone getting a Dalmatian dog and then realizing that's not the breed for them and then dumping them. So that's my main concern about this movie, is people are going to do that hype again. It's kind of like Easter and people getting bunnies or chicks and then they get bored of them. That was a concern of mine. So don't be a jerk. Don't get a dog just because the movie makes them look cute. The animals that they do have in this movie, there's like 5 dogs that you see throughout the movie. And I'm kind of thinking, I don't know if there was actually a dog at any moment in this movie that was real. Because there was moments where the movie showed the, sorry, I'm getting a phone call. There was a moment when the movie showed these dogs, and it looked like they were CGI, so computer-generated images. And I was very happy to see that in a way, because it was obvious, like it was painfully obvious, and like their faces. But the way that the dogs were moving, the way they were being, like, they weren't being abused, but they were being used for unrealistic things for dogs. And like they would like throw the dog up onto like a building so it can go in and help with the heist, because the dogs were helping them steal things. So things that would get them in trouble in 2021 if it was a real dog, they at least made it obvious that it was a CGI dog for those purposes, I think. I think that was the main point, so that you can't say that they abuse real dogs. And I liked at the end of the credits, they did say, please consider adopting dogs in homeless shelters. Please consider giving a homeless dog a chance. So I did appreciate that. I think that was kind of their nod towards, don't go out to a puppy mill and get a million Dalmatians because we showed you this movie. Go get a dog that needs a chance. So I did appreciate that part of it. Rating wise, 1 out of 10, 10 being the best movie on the planet. 7. 7.5. So it's about same place, Quiet Place 2. Same range. Things I would have liked better. There's moments when I couldn't understand them, but I also have problems with my hearing sometimes, so for me, I could understand them. It wasn't the accent, because they all had, like, English accents. I think Emma Stone did great in this role. She embraced it, and she walked the walk, and I believe that other actors and actresses did wonderfully, so the acting was great. I think I would have preferred volume-wise to be a little bit different, but that's just me, personal problem. I liked it. It wasn't what I thought it would be, but then again, I didn't know what to expect. I did like the inclusion of the dogs. I did like I said, I did like the acknowledgement of the future. I need to watch 101 Dalmatians again. That it's kind of encouraging me to watch like the anime version and the one with Glenn Close, to kind of see where we've seen from point A to point B, and now we can see that and see like she really went crazy, because she never reached that point, because the whole point of the movie was her getting her revenge as Cruella with the Baroness. So I think it'd be interesting to see it again, because she goes really crazy in 101, and that's why I think I learned as a kid not to like her, because she was basically just killing dogs because she could to wear them. I don't know where she got that from. Like, she does have the moment in that movie where she's like, they would be a pretty dress, and Horace is looking at her like, you're insane, and she's like, I won't do it, but baby pretty. And so it was kind of nodding at the future, but how did she get to that point? And what led her to that point? And I did like that part of the movie. And that's why I like these origin stories of like the villains like Joker and Cruella are doing, is because it shows you what causes that person to go to the edge. Like, what made them go from Estella to Cruella. Now, you find out that some of the reasons why Estella had any Cruella in her is because she was born from a family that were crazy. So it's partially in her blood, they claim, that she inherited this craziness. But I think it was because she chose to be Estella, but then meeting the Baroness brings that back up, and she embraces it and stays with it. So revenge for her mother is what causes this to happen, because she meets the Baroness again. So if she never met the Baroness and she never got a dream job, then she'd just be Estella. So I'm not 100% sure about how it'd be in a different world, but I do like that we got to see that story. And I do like it, and it reminded me of the saying, you either die young as the hero, or you live long enough to become the villain. And I kept thinking about that in this movie. So, go see it. If you like that kind of stuff, great movie to see. I didn't spoil all of it, so it's still great to watch. The next movie I'm going to go see tomorrow is The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. So maybe I'll do an episode on that, my thoughts on it. I won't give any spoilers with that kind of movie, because then all the jump scares are gone. But I'll talk about it probably. Another video I'm going to also be doing is my thoughts on Resident Evil Village, the video game. I finished it a few weeks ago, and I've had time to think about it. I've watched some other people play it. So I want to share my thoughts on that sometime soon. So once again, thank you, Andy, for subscribing. And if I missed you, I'm sorry. Thanks for subscribing as well. Leave a like or a comment. I appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great day and know that you're loved and appreciated and you're valued and you deserve more than you give yourself credit for. Bye, guys!